Hi, gang, it's Adam.
And Patrick.
Coming up on today's episode, we share our thoughts and listener comments on the recently released trailers for Onward and Jungle Cruise. We cover the latest Disney news and give our spoiler-free review of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. As always, we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Patrick Lickspittle Kozicki.
Lickspittle? That makes me feel uncomfortable. Adam Scarlet Hummel?
Is that because we were talking about Gone with the Wind right before we started recording?
Oh, maybe. Oh, I'm smarter than I think that I am. No, I'm not. Let's be honest about it.
How are you doing, Patrick?
Just terrible. How are you?
No, terrible.
Terribly amazing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking.
Oh, good.
It feels good to be back on our regular recording schedule.
Does it feel good to be back in Minneapolis?
It does feel good to be back in Minneapolis.
Okay, you were just gone.
I was gone.
You were in Orlando.
Yep.
You did not visit Mickey Mouse.
I didn't.
You said, peace out, sorry, next.
I did. I did.
Or no, it's thank you next, isn't it? I'm not hip.
Know.
I'm not hip anymore.
Is that Ariana Grande with a latte shot of double espresso?
My only hip is a hip break these days. It's not good.
I was just in Orlando. I was at Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights.
How was it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I love Universal when it's just a Universal experience.
What do you mean?
Disney World to me is like a boyfriend you want to hold hands with and cuddle with.
Okay.
And Universal is like a one-night stand.
Got it. The backseat of a car situation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you may need to get tested the next morning.
Oh, no.
But you've had a lot of fun.
Got it.
In the experience.
Got it. It does hold the ride of my favorite movie, so I have to give it some props. E.T.
What's that? E.T.
Yeah.
E.T.
That's a terrible ride, but a wonderful movie.
Bart, who I was down there with, absolutely hates the E.T. ride.
I mean, it's not a good ride.
He refuses to go on it.
Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough.
But I got to tell you, Halloween Horror Nights this year knocked it out of the park.
Wow.
I've been 3 years now, and this year was my favorite by far.
Brag much?
I think I'm going to make it an annual. I mean, I already kind of have made it an annual thing. But
It's true.
I just love it so much.
Good.
We did the RIP tour again.
Okay.
Which, for those listeners that don't know, is an upcharged tour you can go on.
Okay.
Where you're put in a group with 12 people, and you get to experience every house.
Okay, so it's like a haunted house fast pass.
Exactly right, Patrick.
Okay.
Yes. You go straight to the front of the line of every house. And our tour guide's name was Ray, and he was phenomenal. Just the nicest guy. And just to point out, some of the houses I love this year, I mean, pretty much all of them were standouts.
Ooh.
But there was one called Graveyard Games, which was an original house this year. So scary. There was a Universal Classic Monsters house, which was amazing.
Ooh, that sounds up my alley.
It was so great. There was one house called Yeti, Terror of the Yukon.
Oh, no.
Where you are being chased by a Yeti.
We were like, get back to the Matterhorn.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This one was a little bit more disturbing than the Matterhorn Yeti.
Fair.
There was an Us house, which was so great.
Oh.
There was a House of a Thousand Corpses house.
Man, that movie's like 20 years old now, isn't it?
It's old. It's older. It's oldish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not my favorite movie by far, but the house was very scary.
I remember being terrified of that movie.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic. Yeah, the Ghostbusters house, of course, was so great.
Okay.
The level of detail in that house was amazing.
Was that more comedic or was it actually frightening? How does that work when they do a movie like Ghostbusters as a haunted house?
There's no horror elements to it.
Sure.
But there are pop-out elements that scare you. So like suddenly Slimer's flying at you and you're like, oh, like that's what scares you.
Got it.
Or like a Ghostbuster will come out from behind a wall with his proton pack and like suddenly he wasn't there before.
Okay.
You know, so like that element will scare you.
Got it.
In that house, I would say it's more about the level of detail and immersion. Really great.
Cool.
And then they did this really cool thing this year called the Marathon of Mayhem projection show. Ooh. So they have their own water projection show in their lagoon now. And this was all about the houses that are being portrayed this year and kind of their stories projected on water. And the whole kind of story behind that was that like you're having a slumber party and watching these movies on a VHS tape because the overall theme was 80s this year.
Okay. I'm like, this doesn't sound...
I know, I'm getting ahead of myself. I know. And then on top of that, Patrick, I just have to say, and then we'll move on, because this is a Disney podcast and not a Universal podcast.
Not anymore. We're changing it up.
We got the chance to see the Dark Arts at Hogwarts Castle projection show.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea what was going on, but it looked really cool. It looked really, really cool. And we got to ride Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
How was it?
Patrick.
Yeah.
This might be the best attraction in Orlando.
That's what people are saying.
It includes everything.
Yeah.
It's a coaster. It's a dark ride.
Sure.
There's amazing animatronics. There's thrills. Mm-hmm. So it really is kind of next level ride experience.
Yeah, people are saying this is the only ride I would actually wait 2 hours for.
And we did. We waited 2 hours for
Oh, wow.
it. And
okay.
it felt right. It wasn't like a wasted 2 hours.
Sure.
It was worth the wait.
Rise of the Resistance. Come on.
Yeah.
Better bring it.
It's got to deliver now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my brief recap. It was a fabulous time. I encourage anyone who loves horror to visit Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. And if you can, do that RIP tour, because you will get the chance to experience everything in one night.
Well, maybe one year you will invite me.
I've invited you every year.
Disagree. Listeners at home, he does not invite me.
But I'm not the only one who's had a fabulous experience recently. Mm-hmm. You also have had one.
It's true. I had a sandwich yesterday and it was delicious.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about Mean Girls.
I am.
You can't sit with us. I love that movie so much. But recently, I got to go see Mean Girls, the Broadway tour. And for those listeners at home who might remember, Emma, she's Emma Caddy, Kady, on Instagram. She wrote in a while back she got to go see Hercules in New York.
Yes.
I'm so jealous of that.
Yeah.
But she reached out to us because she is a stage manager on tour with Mean Girls, and she wanted to invite us, if we were going to the show, to go backstage. So I got to go backstage.
Amazing. Tell me all about it.
It was super fun. First of all, I have to say, Mean Girls, if it's coming to your town, go see it. It is extraordinary. One of the better tours I've seen in a very long time.
That's so good to hear.
Oh, it's such a fresh, young cast, such a fresh take on the movie as well. It wasn't like a replica of the movie. It had its own story to tell. The songs were amazing. All of the actors in it were phenomenal. I'll have to give a specific shout out to the girl who played Janice. Her name is Mary Kate Morrissey. Watch out for her. She's going to be enormous. I think she toured as Elphaba for a while.
Oh, wow.
Her voice is impeccable. So anyways, back to Emma. She invited us to go backstage, so I got to bring my husband, Dan, and it's really, really cool. Like, I've seen the stage at the Orpheum before, but seeing the entire set just sort of tucked away after the show is so fun. I love seeing the mechanics of shows.
Yes.
I'm so interested in how they work, and it was a really, really cool sort of behind the curtains peek at what goes on backstage during Mean Girls. I think Emma, correct me if I'm wrong, right in if I'm wrong, but I believe she manages stage right backstage.
Okay.
Tons happening back there, so many quick changes. It's really beautiful to see all of the spike marks on stage and backstage. If you don't know what a spike mark is, it's sort of a marker, literally a piece of tape on the ground that lets the actors or the crew know where to put a set piece, where to stand for their songs so the light can hit them correctly. It's a maze. It's a minefield of spike marks that you never see on stage.
And crucial on a tour, right? Because every venue you visit is different.
Yes. So we asked her about that.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, actually, sometimes we don't know until the day we come in exactly how much space we're going to have. And so we have to shrink the set a little bit sometimes or expand it sometimes. And the actors have hours to learn where they're going to be during the show.
That's amazing.
Amazing. It's an incredible feat of just sort of mental gymnastics every time when you're on a tour. It's really beautiful to see. And she, Emma, is so kind and so nice. We had the best time talking with her. Cute story. Her husband is actually on tour with her. He is working in merchandise for Mean Girls, so they get to tour the country together.
That is amazing.
It's adorable. I was like, that must be so rare for if you're married to be on tour to see your partner all the time, and they get to see each other every day. Hopefully that's a good thing for them. I imagine it is.
I was going to say no showmances.
Yeah, exactly.
Then. Or maybe they're into that. I don't know.
Who can say? Live your truth.
That's right.
That's what Mean Girls is all about.
Well, I'm so jealous that you got to experience that, but it sounds amazing.
You should be very jealous.
I am.
And it was very amazing.
Well, good.
So thank you, Emma. That was a real treat for me and my husband, Dan. Speaking of thanks, Adam.
Yes.
We have to give a little Thanksgiving shout out to our Canadian Tweedledees.
Happy belated Thanksgiving to the Canadian Tweedledees.
Eh? Is that offensive to them when I say that?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm fine with it.
Well, as long as you're fine with it.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in
That's
now.
exactly what we need. Happy belated Thanksgiving, Canadian Tweedledees.
So smart to have their Thanksgiving in October, isn't it? I mean, we have ours in November.
Oh, I see.
And then we go straight into Christmas in December.
Yeah.
It's like you get a nice little month-long break there.
It's true.
To kind of digest before you have to move on to the Christmas meal.
All that syrup on turkeys. Is that what you eat? I don't know.
It's moose, actually.
Is it moose?
They eat syrup on moose.
Wow.
Up there, yeah.
And bear, I imagine.
Yep.
And just pine cones.
Mm-hmm.
And
keep going.
Lumberjacks.
Yes.
They don't eat the lumberjacks. Well,
I would eat a few lumberjacks.
Oh, my goodness.
I would.
Talk about an outer rim. I'm talking about Galaxy's Edge again.
Yeah.
We got to move on. We got to get out of this. Speaking of moving on, Adam.
I love how you tie these things together.
It's a gift.
Good for you.
I'm such a good transitional
Good for you.
podcast host. Transition right out of this podcast.
Yeah.
The Skyliner is back.
Welcome back, Skyliner.
Skyliner's back. All right. No. Little Backstreet Boys action? No?
I was popping and locking.
Okay. Were you? Is that what that was? I thought you were having a little fit.
That's right. The Skyliner is back up and running in Walt Disney World. Thank goodness.
Yeah, our friends Ben and Amanda and their my friends too, Sean and Ann Bird, were just in Orlando and got to ride the Skyliner.
Oh, I can't wait to hear all about it.
Yeah, it looks really fun. Ben said it is a blast and their video was super cute.
Cute.
I know. I'm very jealous. I'll be there in a couple weeks though, so I will hopefully not get stuck on the Skyliner.
I think they're figuring it out. Notice how I didn't say it. I think they figured it out.
No, they're figuring it out as they go.
Yeah.
Each gondola at a time.
They'll get there. They'll get there.
So welcome back, Skyliner. We missed you.
We have a couple of new listeners we need to acknowledge, Patrick.
Hooray!
Libby and Trina are brand new listeners to the podcast, and they will both be heading to Gay Days in June.
What?
They are a couple, and Libby can be found on Instagram at Cosmosis21.
Love it.
And Trina can be found on Instagram at Cook in Wa.
Okay.
Cook in WA.
Are they from Washington, maybe?
They are from Washington.
Got it. I'm
Yes.
very smart.
They actually reached out to us on Facebook, and I have to tell you, Patrick, Libby was the first to reach out to us, but then Trina responded saying, I would say I was neutral to the D before this, but you two lovely men have gotten me very D-curious.
Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious.
We have that effect on people.
I've heard that one time before.
Uh-huh. So welcome, Libby and Trina. We are so glad you were able to join us at GDTD.
Welcome, new Tweedledees. We also, Adam, have a new Patreon member. Ryan is the newest family member to our Patreon patrons.
Welcome, Ryan, and thank you for supporting us.
Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, we do have a Patreon page. You can find it on our website, gaysdothed.com, and you can click on donate. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support our podcasting efforts here at Gays Do the D. So thank you, Ryan, and a general thank you to all of our Patreon members.
Before we move on, Patrick, I have to make some corrections.
Uh-oh.
I have a couple of sorry about it.
What have you done
I need
this
to
time?
make. These are both related to the long, long list of people we met in Disneyland, which we rattled off on last week's episode.
We sure did.
We met some amazing people on our trip, but I screwed up a little bit.
Okay.
First of all, I need to recognize Bobby, not Poppy. I referred to Bobby as Poppy on the last episode.
Oh.
I just misheard the name.
You and I both did because I was certain that Poppy was correct.
And it's Bobby.
Sorry, Bobby.
Sorry, Bobby. But Noah reached out to us on Facebook, so we want to acknowledge both Noah and Bobby who were visiting Disneyland for the first time. It was Bobby's very first trip to Disneyland.
That's right.
And you can find Noah on Facebook at Noah James Letts. So we apologize. Sorry about it, Noah and Bobby.
Sorry.
And we also need to acknowledge that we met Robbie, who you can find on Instagram at Robbie J. Disney. Robbie, I can't believe I left you off the list. You are a phenomenal person, and I sincerely apologize for that.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about it, Robbie.
Who I think is in Orlando right now.
That guy.
I know.
That guy back and forth between the coasts.
He can't be stopped.
He's a cast member now, so he can just walk right into those parks.
That's true. He owns those parks.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. You better work. You do, though, because that's
he
what
does.
You're,
He
that's
actually
what you're a cast member.
Works in the parks.
Wow, that works really well.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Yeah.
This week, Adam, we have 2 really fun anniversaries to talk about.
Good, because most of the anniversaries you bring up are just
boring,
the worst.
terrible.
The worst.
Well, get ready for some excitement.
I'm ready.
The oldest one is 78 years old.
Oh my gosh.
October 23rd, 1941.
Pinocchio?
You're very incorrect.
Oh.
It's Dumbo.
Dumbo. Is that Timothy?
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, Dumbo. I love you. Sorry about your latest movie. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault, Dumbo. Yeah. It's not your fault.
Are you Good Will Hunting Dumbo right now?
Yes, I am. I certainly am.
Well played. Well played. And then our second anniversary is 26 years old, October 22nd, 1993. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
26 years old, the same age as me. What?
I believe you're older. I know you're older.
Oh, wow.
Every time I look at that face.
Hashtag rude.
I can see it.
Hey, I serve 26 years old in my elbows. They're very young looking.
So moisturized.
And the rest of me is Hagrid's adventure.
I love The Nightmare Before Christmas.
You're the only one.
I know.
No one else likes it.
Right. And what a turnaround for that movie, because it was not a success necessarily.
Not as big as they wanted it to be.
Right. But now, of course, it's become a cult classic.
Yeah, much like Hocus Pocus, which came out in the same year.
Yeah.
They both sort of found fame later on.
Yeah.
Just like me.
And your elbows. Your well-moisturized
elbows. My famous elbows. So happy anniversary, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Dumbo!
We had not one but two trailers premiere last week, Patrick.
We sure did some big ones.
Big ones. First up, we had Onward, Disney Pixar's Onward. Give me your thoughts, Patrick.
I'm super excited about this movie. I don't have a lot more to say about it. I mean, it looks really funny. It looks really beautiful. It looks like it's going to be emotional.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Ditto.
Great.
Yes. I'm very excited for it.
Succinct. I like that.
We had some listeners reach out to us with their thoughts on the trailer. Kevin, who you can find on Instagram at Mr. KevyKevs.
My favorite handle ever.
Kevin said, Pixar has never let us down, but this trailer seems ominous.
Ooh, that's a good word for it.
I see a lot of physical comedy here without a deeper plot line. I remain hopeful, of course, but this trailer isn't doing it for me.
Mr. KevyKevs, I'm going to slap you. You're very wrong.
I think this trailer focuses on the comedy. I think Kevin is right, but I think there's going to be a lot deeper dive into the relationship with the dad.
Oh, for sure.
In the film.
That's what I pulled out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking to cry, so
yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, well, Pixar will get you there.
It's true.
They'll get you there.
We also had Cassandra reach out. She is Bored Life Mama, B-O-A-R-D, not bored as in she's bored of being a mama.
Maybe.
Let's get that correct.
I'm not going to assign an attitude to her.
I did just now. She's on board with being a mama.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, Cassandra, you can let me know, and I will let people know that you are bored with your kids. Just write into us.
We're happy to pass that along.
But speaking of her kids, she said the kids will love this.
Oh, great. She's just going to leave them at the theater afterwards, too.
She's not going to be bored anymore.
Bored.
She's going to get a glass of wine, put the kids in the theater, and have a day of it.
Our friend JJ, who you can find at JSquare3 on Instagram, said, can't wait.
Well, you're going to have to, because it's not out yet.
March.
So, sorry about it.
Yeah. Sorry, JJ.
Sorry, JJ. Kitty Jane wrote to us. She is CallBZ14. She says, I'm happy Pixar is producing a fresh idea. Looks cute. I'm hoping they delve deeper into the life with a single mom, loss of a parent, older brother, being a father figure type stuff. I agree with you. I am on board with all of those sentiments.
I like that fresh idea. She's right.
Mm-hmm.
A fresh idea.
Who knew?
They're out there.
They're happening. They're happening.
And last but not least, our patron Paul, who we met in Disneyland, who you can find on Instagram at jpaulfindlay, said, usually Disney Pixar trailers excite me, but this one has me baffled and a little worried.
Oh.
In plot and tone, it seems more like DreamWorks or Blue Sky than Pixar. Overall, it looks like an animated Harry Potter meets Weekend at Bernie's.
That's pretty funny.
I kind of want to see it more now because of his description.
Yeah, you should write the trailers, I think. Because that makes you want to see it.
I love it. Well, Paul, hopefully the movie will surprise you.
Yeah, it sounds like we are a mixed bag of sentiments around this with our Tweedledees.
Onward opens domestically on March 6th, 2020.
Moving onward, Adam.
You did it again.
I did it. I'm so good at this.
Again, Patrick.
There should be an award for it.
There should be.
Something.
Yep.
So Jungle Cruise also dropped a pretty big trailer. We had a lot of listener feedback. What did you think of the trailer? Any thoughts bubbling up?
It was not the storyline I was expecting. There seems to be more of a supernatural element to it.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by it.
It's serving me African Queen kind of meets the Mummy.
Oh, sure. It's a confusing trailer, but I think they're doing that on purpose. They don't want to reveal the whole story, so who can say?
Well, I'll tell you who can say, our listeners.
They can say a lot.
They had some thoughts. Danny, who you can find on Instagram at Princess Danny at Disney, said, OMG, this is so exciting. And I agree with that. It does look very exciting.
It does. I'm going to go see this. For a while, I was like, I can wait until this is an airplane ride or something to watch it. But I think I'm going to go see it. I guess I have to because we have a podcast that we're going to review it.
We're going to review it, Patrick.
Fine, I'll see it. Tony Anthony of Agrabah wrote out to us, all I can see is Mary Poppins asking Maui for help on holiday.
That's so true.
Yep.
That's so true.
It's hard to disassociate her from Mary Poppins now.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because we all know what happened to Julie Andrews. She just never worked again after Mary Poppins. It was it for her.
Yep.
One hit wonder.
Yep. Our friend Mario, who you can find on Instagram at Diamond in the Rough Clothing Co., said, I noticed that they didn't mention or show the role Jack Whitehall is supposed to play in this trailer. Since he's supposed to be a gay man, but played by a cisgender straight actor that was described as very camp and very funny in the trade papers, I have a feeling Disney has to cut the scenes down in order to avoid more controversy from the film. Speaking just based on the trailer, it looks like it will be in the same tone as Jumanji. Oh, that's a really good point. And The Mummy from 1999, which will play as an action-adventure comedy. Disney is setting it up to be its new summer tentpole with a July release. My only hesitation is the script may not bring anything new to the table in terms of story, since I feel like I've seen all these action played as comedy gags before. I just hope that the charms and charisma of leads Emily Blunt and The Rock elevate the script so that it carries the film for a big box office. Those are excellent points, Mario. And we're going to have to see about that character played by Jack Whitehall. It's Emily Blunt's brother in the film.
Right.
It's tough to say how that's going to play out, whether it's going to be well received or whether people are going to be very, very critical of it.
Is he fully a gay character? Like we know that he is in a relationship with another man, or is this just a feminine character and we are assuming that he's gay?
I think he's effeminate in personality.
Which is a tricky road to go down because that doesn't mean gay, right? There are straight men out there who have very feminine features and qualities and traits that are, like I said, straight. And so this is a risk for Disney.
Yeah.
And I think for any film as well. And I think we need to step away from that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I love a campy character.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Are you just worried that a straight actor's playing it?
I'm not worried about that as much as I think we need to have gay characters that are simply gay and not campy, and that's what gay is.
Got it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that we need better representation and not sort of gay clowns. And then our society sees gay people as that's what gay means because that's what we see in movies.
Right.
So I guess we will find out when the movie opens.
We certainly will. And last but not least, Kevin, again, on Instagram, Mr. Kevy Kevs.
Uh-oh.
He had to share his thoughts, and we appreciate it. Kevin says, this certainly didn't need to happen, but gosh, it looks fun. Johnson and Blunt already have such a natural chemistry in the trailer. Visuals look goofy, but I think that plays strongly to the film's intentions. Looks like one of those where everyone knew exactly what they were doing. I am excited.
Wow, okay.
I agree, Kevin. And if there's one thing I really love, it's a comedy set like in the 30s and the 40s. Like I love a fast-talking kind of screwball comedy in the style of Katharine Hepburn.
Sure.
I just love that.
Absolutely. Me too. I'm just still nervous about this movie. I think it looks fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to reserve my opinions until I see it.
Well, you won't have long to wait, Patrick, because Jungle Cruise opens domestically on July 24th, 2020.
Hooray! I have an idea, Adam.
What's that?
Let's move onward and cruise into the news.
I don't want to burst our listeners' eardrums, but I would applaud into this microphone if I could, because that was the shining crown jewel of your transitions today.
Oh, well, listen up, folks. It's all going to be trash from here on out. That was all I got. I used it all in one time.
Yeah.
Adam, it wouldn't be a podcast episode unless I talked about Run Disney.
It's one of your favorite things in the world.
It's all I can talk about.
I love that you found something you can truly love in this world.
It's true. I don't love much.
I don't love much, but I know I love you.
That is frightening.
Aaron Neville.
Wow.
Yep.
That could be a haunted house next year.
Was that Aaron Neville?
Just you singing that over and over again.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Great. So let's move on. Back to me.
Okay.
Let's pull it away from you.
Yep.
See how you try to steal my thunder all the time. So the individual race medals have been revealed for the Run Disney 2020 Disney Princess Half Marathon Weekend, and these ladies look like queens.
Oh.
They're super beautiful. It makes me want to quit my job, get a higher paying job so I can do this race.
You're not doing this one?
I'm not. It's the one I will have not done. After January, I'll have done almost all of them.
I just assume that you're doing every single Run Disney event.
Maybe that'll be my 2021 goal.
Oh, that's a great goal.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So the 5K medal features Moana, which is an independent movie that was released a few years back.
Didn't do so well.
Didn't do very well.
No.
And it's really beautiful.
I bet. Is she on the medal?
She is. She's standing there being like, I know how far I'll go. It's 3.1 miles. Because that's a 5K.
That is so funny.
So the medal is actually shaped a little bit like the heart of Te Fiti. It's really cool.
Oh, cool.
It's sort of nickel in color with some green accents.
Beautiful.
It's really beautiful. The 10K features Pocahontas in sort of a Colors of the Wind pose.
Yes.
She's serving Colors of the Wind realness.
So proud.
Mm-hmm, so proud. The medal is gold with pink and orange leaves surrounding her.
Oh, that sounds gorgeous.
I'm telling you have to go look at these medals. They outdid themselves this year.
Wow.
The half marathon features Cinderella, which is appropriately timed with the 70th anniversary next year. The medal is framed in silver, and Sin herself is gold with a light blue band around the perimeter, and it's sort of shaped a little bit like the carriage.
Can we just pause for a moment? Did you call her Sin?
I did.
Okay.
We go way back.
Okay.
Sin and I.
70 years back?
Mm-hmm.
It shows.
Well, you two went to school together, didn't
Shut
you?
up.
What? Moving on, the Fairy Tale Challenge medal, which is the 10K and half marathon for a total of 19.3 miles in 2 days, features the three fairies from Sleeping Beauty, which is kind of strange because they are not princesses.
That is strange. And also for them to be featured on such a prominent medal, like you've completed all these challenges and now you get the three fairies. I mean, I'm into the three fairies.
It's a really cool medal, but I wish they had just used the three ladies from the other medals on this medal itself.
I like that idea.
Because I'm very smart.
A cohesive collection.
Exactly. So this is an especially beautiful medal, though. It's mostly gold with three sort of bubbles in the middle, and each bubble features one of the fairies outlined in their signature color of blue, pink, or green.
Okay.
And then on the reverse side, the bubbles are represented by the miles run for that completion medal.
Oh, that's cool.
It is. It's really beautiful. It's just confusing that they use those three characters for, like you said, such a heavy-hitting award.
Yeah.
Lastly, the Kids Dash features Flounder, and the Kids 1 Mile has Ariel, Flounder, and Sebastian on it. There are still slots available for the half marathon and the Kids Race Dash. All the other categories are sold out for this half marathon weekend, and the weekend runs February 20th through the 23rd, 2020. To learn more about the Disney Princess Half Marathon, to register, or to just learn about Run Disney in general, you can visit rundisney.com.
If you were to participate in this Run Disney weekend, what princess would you be serving on your run?
I don't think I would run as a princess because I'm a queen.
Okay.
How very dare you. But I think I would serve a little Jane from Tarzan in like a pantaloon situation.
Stripped down Jane.
Stripped down Jane.
Okay.
And then Tarzan is my prize at the end of the run.
Oh, that's a great prize.
Aim high, everybody. Aim high.
Last week, WDW News Today drew our attention to the fact that Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo in Disney's Hollywood Studios' Galaxy's Edge has replaced the Star Wars-themed names for its dishes on its print menus with straightforward names. The menus retain the original themed names in small font below the larger print, more generic description. So, for example, Patrick, the two dishes we had during our visit to Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, the roasted Andorian tip-yip salad, which is what you had.
So delicious.
And the Felucian garden spread, which is what I had, are now called roasted chicken salad and hummus garden spread, respectively.
Huh. Fancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The online menus have removed the Star Wars-themed names completely from the entree, kids meal, and kids Disney check meal. According to WDW News Today, the desserts and breakfast menu have retained their original themed names, but have simplified them somewhat, with Tug's Morning Oats now listed as Tug's Overnight Oats. the Bright Sun's Morning, now listed as the Bright Sun's Breakfast Platter, and the Mustafarian Lava Roll, now described as the Mustafarian Cinnamon Roll. As of this recording, Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge Docking Bay 7 food and cargo menus retain the Star Wars-themed names for its dishes.
Is that because people in California are smarter than people in Florida?
Maybe, sadly.
Oh, dear.
Why is this happening? Why did Disney do this?
I have to say, I think it's because in Disney World, there are so many more languages flying at the cast members.
Yeah.
And it is a little confusing when you see a menu and go, tip yip. Here are some meats that I can't eat culturally. What are you serving me in this salad? I don't know what a tip yip is. And so I imagine it's saving time for them by not having to explain what they're serving their guests.
Okay, that's a very sensitive and thoughtful answer because I'm upset about this.
I get it, because it sort of removes the fun from what they were trying to do in Star Wars.
The theming is completely, and the immersion is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's sad to see. I totally understand it, but I'll tell you what, I just want that tip. Yep.
Who's Yep? I get what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying because I did not look at it from that perspective.
Well, you're not very sensitive.
I am not. Going into this story, I definitely did not. But where I'm concerned is that overall, in general, in society, there seems to be a real lack of like critical thinking. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Like people want things kind of spoon-fed to them now.
Yeah.
And why not use this experience being in a theme park, being in a land that's supposed to be immersive, to kind of think outside of the box and maybe have to experience things in a different way.
Get uncomfortable.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, get uncomfortable by ordering your lunch and having to say some words that you may not normally have to say. Like, I just want people to embrace a different experience.
Sure. Have some fun in your day.
Have some fun.
When you're at Disney, why not try having some fun?
Give it a shot.
So if you still want just the tip, you can go to California.
California's happy to give you just the tip.
Great.
Yep.
Never not funny. Earlier this week, Disney Plus dropped a massive tweet, and the world ate it up.
That is an extreme fetish.
Did not think this through when I wrote it. Did not think it was going to be gross, but it was.
I'm not going to yuck that yum. That is someone's yum, and they are going to be into that statement.
Eat that tweet. The magical tweet that was dropped, the massive magical tweet that they dropped, included every title that will be available when Disney Plus launches on November 12th.
Wow.
So roughly 500 movie titles will be included, along with roughly 7,000 TV episodes. Content will include titles from Disney, Pixar, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, and National Geographic, as well as Disney Channel shows and select titles from 20th Century Fox Television and ABC Studios. There were no huge surprises surrounding the titles, but it was super fun to see a lot of the old classic animated and live-action titles officially announced, as well as cartoon series from our childhood, like Tailspin, DuckTales, and Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Your childhood.
You can finally see them. That's true. Your childhood was 30 years before mine.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a Mickey Mouse short before this picture.
There wasn't really television when you were growing up. More information around what to expect from the platform has also slowly started to come out. According to CNET.com, each subscriber will have access to 4 simultaneous streams. We both know what that's like.
Cross those streams.
Cross them. And you will be able to create 7 profiles so multiple viewers can have their own personalization and preferences set up. And apparently, Disney Plus will be releasing episodes of its original series weekly rather than all at once, like many streamed content viewers are used to.
I like that.
Me too, actually.
I like having to wait a little bit.
It creates some excitement.
Yeah.
It makes you not sit down for 13 hours in a day.
Which is what I would do.
Oh, I can do that really easily.
So are you telling me that we could have had just one account and we both could have logged into that account and watched it from our homes?
I don't think Disney wants you to do that.
Right. That's what I'm hearing.
But it's for the families.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, people who have HBO Go do that all the time.
Right. Not that we're endorsing it, but...
We are not endorsing that.
Wink.
But you should do it.
Wink.
But you should do it. Of course, all of this will be very clear when Disney Plus finally launches on November 12th.
That's so soon now.
Super soon. What are you most excited about on Disney Plus?
You know, it's odd because I was scrolling through the content, and as you said, there weren't like a ton of surprises about what will be released.
Yeah.
It's actually very reassuring what's going to be released. I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that that's going to be there. I was hoping that that would be there. But a lot of the National Geographic programs really jumped out at me as like something I really want to dig into.
For sure.
I love a good like archaeology kind of documentary style series, and National Geographic has those in spades.
You're so old.
It's true. It's true. I can't help it. I just love that kind of content.
No, same here. I can't wait to see those. They look really beautiful.
What are you looking forward to?
I am a classic TV cartoon lineup kind of guy.
Yeah.
I am going to watch Gummy Bears. I'm going to watch
Gummy Bears.
Darkwing Duck. I'm going to watch it all. I can't wait for those.
Now, Gummy Bears is my childhood for sure.
Now, when you say Gummy Bears is your childhood, do you mean the snack? Do you mean those Haribo gummy bears?
Both. I mean, like, I'm eating all the sugar as a child while watching the cartoon.
Well, that's just sweet, Adam.
Oh,
Sweets for sweet.
Hamlet. You brought Hamlet into this podcast.
Why would I not? Why would I not?
We're getting a bit more information about the Phase 2 e-ticket attraction coming to Disney California Adventure's Avengers Campus. During a recent New York Comic-Con 2019 panel, Walt Disney Imagineering's Marvel Portfolio Creative Executive Scott Drake talked about the new Avengers Quinjet ride that is currently in development, stating, quote, "We're inventing an all-new ride system for this. The demands of these characters and this experience is forcing us to invent, and we're really excited about that. It's going to be something like you've never seen before." The attraction will be different from Disney's other simulated experiences like Avatar, Flight of Passage, or Soarin' Around the World. As we previously learned from the presentation at the D23 Expo, guests will board the Quinjet and head to Wakanda on a mission with other superheroes. Despite starting out as a group experience, the attraction will become a solo journey for guests, with Drake noting, quote, "We're going to transform from this group experience to this individual flight. This is going to be the basis of our own origin story. We're going to build back up and get to fight alongside with all of the Avengers in this epic battle in Wakanda." That sounds amazing, Patrick.
It sounds crazy.
And I don't know quite how they're going to do it. I don't think they want us to know yet. But to go from a group experience to kind of a more individual experience and then back to a group experience, that's going to be something we've never seen before.
I mean, I've seen that on a Saturday night.
Oh, sure.
In my own personal life.
Yeah, but doesn't your Saturday night more just end with the solo experience and not go back to the group?
It ends with me just fully passing out under a table.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, Disney and their ride vehicles are serving us invention lately. They're doing a cool ride vehicle for Tron. They're doing a new ride vehicle for Guardians of the Galaxy, for the new Star Wars ride.
It's just that level of storytelling has to keep advancing, right? Like people are demanding more and more immersion, more of an experience on these rides. Like they really want to be taken out of their lives and into a different story.
Sure, and they've got to get the jump on Universal with these rides as well.
Absolutely. An opening date for the Quinjet attraction has not been announced. Phase 1 of Avengers Campus, featuring a web-slinging Spider-Man attraction, Doctor Strange show, and Ant-Man and the Wasp restaurant, will open in 2020. Now, you're familiar with Spider-Man attraction, Patrick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable now. Why did I ask that?
Tom Holland, little boy. I need a minute. Since Hurricane Dorian hit the Bahamas, causing massive destruction, Disney has pitched in with extraordinary efforts to help the people and communities affected. So far, they have donated $1 million to relief efforts. They've also given food, water, medical supplies, cleaning supplies, generators, and construction materials delivered on the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy. They've also given $500,000 in supplies and aid to support their Bahama-based cast members living in impacted areas. This week, we learned of yet another way Disney has pitched in. 83 dogs and one adorable cat have been rescued from the Bahamas after the storm left the Humane Society there with no food, water, or medical supplies. A no-kill rescue shelter in Sebastian, Florida, called Halo, took in all 83 dogs and the kitty. Once the animals were transported, they needed to be put in a 14-day quarantine, which used up all of the shelter's linens. The linens then had to be disposed of to prevent the spread of disease, leaving the shelter without additional linens to properly care for the animals. Disney heard about their need and immediately donated 600 blankets, sheets, and towels from their Vero Beach resort and from the Walt Disney World Textile Services. Thanks to Halo and the donation from Disney, all 83 dogs and 1 cat are safe and healthy.
I will adopt all the animals.
I know. I really want to. They're so cute.
And what a way for Disney to contribute. You know, I think when these disasters happen, a lot of the attention goes to the human need, and rightly so, you know, but also the animals are really suffering from them too. And so they need a place to go and be safe and clean and happy and healthy.
For sure. They tend to be forgotten because they can't speak for themselves, right?
Right. And that just makes it so sad.
I know. Boy, if that cat is into dogs, it has its pick of the litter. See what I did there?
I see exactly what you did there. Academy Award-winning actor Gina Davis and star of a very important movie to my childhood, A League of Their Own, Patrick.
Don't run, you'll scare the chickens.
Has partnered with Disney to implement a digital tool that uses AI technology to assess film and television scripts for gender bias. According to an October 3rd, 2019 The Hollywood Reporter article, Davis announced that her organization, the Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media, has developed GDIQ, spell check for bias, at the University of Southern California Viterbi School of Engineering to rapidly analyze the text of a script to determine its number of male and female characters and whether they are representative of the real population at large. The article also notes that the technology also can discern the number of characters who are people of color, LGBTQI, possess disabilities, or belong to other groups typically underrepresented and failed by Hollywood storytelling. Spell check for bias can also assess the number of speaking lines various groups have, the sophistication of their vocabulary, and the relative social status or positions of power assigned to the characters by group. While delivering the closing keynote at New Zealand's Power of Inclusion Summit, Davis stated, quote, "I'm very proud to announce that we have a brand new partnership with Walt Disney Studios using Spell Check for Bias. They are our pilot partners, and we are going to collaborate with Disney over the next year using this tool to help their decision-making, identify opportunities to increase diversity and inclusion in the manuscripts that they receive." Davis went on to say that Spell Check for Bias was not created to, quote, shame and blame, but rather to reveal the unconscious bias that commonly manifests itself in even the most well-meaning screenwriters' work. Patrick, what do you think about this?
I'm against it, Adam.
Are you?
I'm against it. No, this is amazing. I am super excited about it. It's sort of a next-level Bechdel test.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For those who don't know, the Bechdel test is sort of a measurement on how many women are represented in a movie or a TV show and whether or not their characters are focused on the men in the show or whether they have their own storyline that is not focused on a relationship. So this is beyond that. This is amazing and much needed, and we could have used this so long ago.
Yes, I'm 100% behind the intent for it. Mm-hmm. I'm a little nervous about the after effects. As a sometimes writer, I'm just concerned that the stories and characters don't get kind of pounded down into mush. Does that make sense? Like there still needs to be the writer's intent behind it. Mm-hmm. And the stories still need to be told that are perhaps male or female heavy one way or the other, or, you know, don't have a certain character represented. I guess what I'm saying is I just don't want it to completely kind of strip out the writer's voice.
I totally hear what you're saying. I don't think it's going to do that. At least I hope not anyways. As you said, Gina Davis said they're not here to shame and blame. So hopefully this will be more of a teaching moment of, have you thought about this? Have you thought about representing a different character or a different voice and not telling people they can't tell the stories they're already telling? Mm-hmm. I'm interested to know how they're going to figure out cultural bias or whether or not somebody who is not a white man is cast in the show. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes that's a problem. It's not necessarily that the character is not there. It's just that they're not being cast by someone other than a white man or a white woman. Mm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In any case, I think this is an enormous step forward, and I'm super excited that it's happening.
A little bit more about the Institute. The Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media was founded in 2004 after Davis, as the mother of a young girl, became acutely aware of the underrepresentation of female characters in media. The Institute's mantra is, quote, "If girls see it, they can be it." The Hollywood Reporter article also notes that the organization has commissioned numerous studies showing how screen representations influence real-world behavior of both women and men. One such study revealed that the number of girls taking up competitive archery more than doubled shortly after the simultaneous release of The Hunger Games and Pixar's Brave in 2012. Davis herself took up archery as a hobby in the late 1990s and later nearly qualified for the U.S. Olympic archery team. That's just a fun little side fact.
I never knew that.
I think she's actually a Mensa member, Gina Davis. She's very, very intelligent and kind of a jack of all trades. In other words, kind of too good for Hollywood. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
She's just too smart for the industry.
She always seems very sort of thoughtful and in her head when I see her on interviews and even in the movies. Like she knows what's going on more than I do, which can be said of kind of anybody. But you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. For instance, when they're at the World Series in A League of Their Own and Dottie is catching and Kit is pitching and they're playing on opposite teams, like the struggle there.
Yeah. Real think piece.
Yeah, it's a real think piece.
That's a wonderful movie, though.
It sure is.
Let's take two that movie.
Not Disney.
I don't care. We talked about Universal for so long today. We don't need to be Disney anymore.
Patrick.
What is up, Adam?
I'll tell you what is up. Last week, we dragged ourselves out on a school night.
We did.
To see Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, the follow-up to 2014's Maleficent starring Angelina Jolie.
Maleficent Part 2.
Maleficent Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Ooh.
Should have been the title.
Yep.
Call me Disney.
I mean,
I'm full of these ideas.
You're full of something.
So naturally, it's time for us to give a completely spoiler-free review, share our thoughts on the film, share some listener thoughts on the film, but most importantly, run down the cast and the dudes in the cast.
Yeah.
And how attracted we are to the dudes in the cast.
It's time to objectify men.
Some more.
I think Gina Davis would approve. Don't you think?
I think she would. So before we kind of dive into the creative team behind the film, is there anything you want to say, aside from the fact that neither of us were huge fans of the original film, Maleficent?
I was hugely not a fan of it.
Okay.
As were you, I imagine.
I didn't care for it.
Didn't care for it. Beautiful movie.
Beautiful to look at.
It was like a painting that I needed no words for. And this movie was better.
Oh, well, that's a positive twist.
Yeah, I have to say, I went into this movie thinking I wasn't going to like it. And I did like it. I thought it wasn't the best movie I've ever seen in my life, but I think they learned their lesson from the first Maleficent.
Okay.
Made some changes, and this was almost like, let's just replace it. Let's get rid of that first Maleficent movie and just do this one instead.
Interesting.
You, I imagine, did not feel the same way.
I've done a lot of soul searching after seeing this movie.
And you found that you had no soul.
And I found there was nothing there.
You're searching for a soul.
Not there.
Okay.
I think my main issue is that the genre of medieval fantasy is not my genre.
Okay.
Unless it's like a comedy situation, like a Princess Bride situation.
Okay.
But when there's fairies and tree people and little hedgehogs, I don't know what that thing was, I tend to struggle a little bit more in finding something to latch onto. And I think that's the case with this film. But we can get into that more later. Unless you just want to like drag it all out right now.
So you're not into fantasy, but you are a Disney fan. How is that working in your favor?
Medieval fan.
Okay.
Like,
I'm just kidding.
It's kind of like the Black Cauldron in a way, isn't it?
Sure.
Like,
but you liked the Black Cauldron.
I liked it much more than I thought I would, yeah.
Got it. I hear what you're saying.
I have more specifics to get into later.
Great.
And I know I'm leaving everybody just on the edge of their seat.
Yeah, we can't wait to disagree with you. We can't wait to tell you how wrong you are.
Good. That's the way this podcast should work. It should be a discussion of various opinions, and mine is wrong, always.
Yeah, that tracks.
Okay,
that tracks.
Good. Well, let's dive into the creative team behind the film and talk about the talent that is behind what we saw on Thursday night.
Yes, please. So Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, was directed by Joaquin Roning, who also directed Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Which I don't think I've seen. Where does that fall in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie timeline?
I believe it's the most recent one.
Oh, then I absolutely have not seen
the
that.
The 5th installment.
Okay.
I have seen some of this movie.
Okay.
I like the Pirates movies, but I don't need to watch them all the way through. They're kind of a movie to have on in the background for me.
Sure.
But I do like Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah, other than that, he really hasn't done any big projects, this director. So this was kind of like his second big project for Disney.
Yeah, I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean was a massive undertaking.
Sure
and
was.
So this was as well. So they must see something in him.
Absolutely. I wonder what that must be like for a relatively unknown director to walk onto a set with Angelina Jolie and Michelle Pfeiffer and just be like, I'm in control of this ship.
Was he, though?
Was he?
I believe Angelina Jolie had some say in the movie.
Probably.
So the script was written by 3 people. 2 of them were Micah Fitzerman Blue, which is an awesome name, and I believe his writing partner, Noah Harpster, who both worked on A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and they also wrote a handful of episodes of Transparent. And Linda Wolverton also had a hand in the script. She has an immense Disney history. She worked on Beauty and the Beast, both the live action and animated, Alice Through the Looking Glass, Maleficent, the original, Alice in Wonderland, The Lion King, live action and animated, Mulan, the list goes on and on and on. She has a huge history with Disney.
And as you mentioned, Patrick, she worked on the original Maleficent. She was kind of the story creator for Maleficent and for this movie, too. She was got the story by credit.
Exactly right.
She created the world we're experiencing in these movies.
We're seeing the world through her version of Maleficent.
That was a much more eloquent way of saying it. Thank you for saving me.
You're very welcome. The music was by Jeff Zanelli, who also worked on the music for Christopher Robin and Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. And I have to give a shout out to the costuming department, specifically Ellen Mironjnik. I believe that's how you say her name. She worked on The Greatest Showman and Behind the Candelabra and a little-known movie called Showgirls.
Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm. You can kind of see an amalgamation of all 3 of those movies in Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Sure.
I really like the costumes. I had to give her a little shout-out.
Oh, gorgeous costumes, yeah. The director of photography was Henry Brahm, and he also served as the DP for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, The Legend of Tarzan and the Golden Compass.
Ooh.
And I would like to give a shout-out to senior art director Toby Britton, who also was the art director for Mary Queen of Scots, Dunkirk, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah, visually, this movie was stunning.
It is a gorgeous film to look at.
As was the first one.
Yeah, that's right. That sounded defensive, but it wasn't meant to sound that way.
Adam hates Maleficent.
So that's the creative team. Let's stretch out our Maleficent wings, Patrick,
Ooh.
and dive off a cliff right into the cast.
Okay. A lot of small names. Real independent artist kind of a film.
I like when Disney scoops up unknown talent and gives them a platform.
It's so noble of them.
Yeah, it really is. So kicking things off, we have Angelina Jolie, who returns as Maleficent.
Yeah, I hear good things about her.
Her career's going places.
Watch out for this one. She's also known as a woman who got to look at Brad Pitt naked for a very long time in her life.
She did get to do that. I mean, we assume. We don't know.
That's true. That's true. They may wear blindfolds when they're...
They may. Why would they?
Having nighttime situations.
So what did you think of Angie's performance in this film, Patrick?
Angie.
Yeah.
Angela. I actually didn't mind her performance in this movie. No, I liked it a lot better than the first movie. I think she figured some things out.
All right.
That woman knows how to work a camera, though.
She certainly does.
She knows her angles.
Yeah.
She gives the best side eye I've ever seen in my life.
I feel like when you walk onto the set as a DP or a lighting person or a costume person or a makeup person and you're working with Angelina Jolie, you basically have to do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, she's gorgeous.
Yes.
And it really translates to the camera and to the film.
Absolutely. She kind of reminds me of, and this is going to sound weird, but go with me on this ride, of Meryl Streep in the way that she knows what to do on set.
Sure, that makes
Meryl
sense.
Streep is a genius at figuring out where she needs to look, where she needs to be. She knows what a camera's going to do to her, and Angelina Jolie is in that same category, I think.
What Meryl Streep brings to the craft of acting and performance, Angelina kind of just has innately in her beauty, which is kind of belittling her performance, but...
No, you're right. But that's really hard to do, though. Like, to sort of do nothing and portray everything.
Yep, that's right.
Is really difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm a really good actor, so I know.
You know.
I know how it works.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Angelina Jolie.
Yeah. She didn't have a ton to do in this movie. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I would say she even had less to do in this movie than she had to do in the first movie.
Also a fact.
She's very striking, and she can deliver a one-word line very successfully as Maleficent. But I would almost say that the story wasn't necessarily centered around her this time. It was more about Aurora and Philip and family issues on Philip's side.
Yeah, I don't understand the title of the movie.
I was just about to comment on that.
It didn't make any sense after having seen the movie. It just didn't fit in with what we saw. So I wonder if they had marketed this movie with that title before landing on the story that they landed on.
Oh, interesting.
And then they just sort of had to make it work. I don't know.
Yeah, the title didn't fit.
And we've already sort of seen that storyline anyways of, is she evil, is she not evil? Like, we've already answered that question. We know where she kind of lands now.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they tried to tell us that story again, kind of.
That's a really good point, Patrick.
Thank you.
Should we move on to Elle Fanning as Aurora?
We should. I always forget that she is the younger sister of Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
Although she looks like her older sister.
Yeah.
She is an old soul.
She is.
She's an interesting choice for me for Sleeping Beauty.
She is. She's not your typical Princess Beauty you would think of for a role like that.
Yeah, she's kind of rough around the edges a little bit, especially for Sleeping Beauty. You kind of think of a very soft, demure princess.
Right,
basically.
More subservient kind of, and I mean that in every negative way that fulfills.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think it's a good choice. Yeah. It's just not an obvious one.
Right. She's very likable, Elle Fanning.
She is. I just can't really get a gut check on her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's sort of elusive, and I don't know what's happening in her face. Does that make sense? Like the way that Angelina Jolie, like I know exactly what she's thinking just by looking into her eyes. With Elle Fanning as an actress, I think that she's trying to do an Angelina Jolie by doing very little, and it's not working so much in her favor.
Yeah, she might be a little bit out of her depth in these films because there's so much CGI that needs to happen and so many elements that are kind of outside of her control that maybe that's having an effect on her performance, whereas Angelina's like, just, I got this. I'm an executive producer on this movie.
Yeah.
I'm in control.
And like you said, for a movie this big, you have to really be a big presence.
Yeah.
And she kind of faded into the background a lot for me.
Oh, interesting. I can see that.
Thank you again.
Harris Dickinson plays Prince Philip, and he doesn't have a ton of screen credits, but he did voice Gurjin in the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which you can currently watch on Netflix and should because it's really incredible.
I really like it. What'd you think of Harris?
There wasn't a ton there for me to respond to. I get where they were going with the kind of quote-unquote pretty boy or young girls would think he's really attractive or appealing.
Sure, yeah. That's a really good way to say that because I didn't find him remarkable.
Right.
And I'm not trying to judge it. Well, yeah, we are. We're trying to judge people on their looks. On Gays Do the Tea. So maybe my tastes are of a different generation, but I just found him kind of boring to watch.
And if he's not that interesting and if his character isn't given that much to work with,
right,
then he should be freaking gorgeous, right? Like, isn't that what we need?
But maybe he is, just not to us.
Right.
You know?
That's true. Matthew found him very attractive.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he's 11 years old. No, he's not, by the way, everyone. He's not 11 years old.
He's not.
He's 12. Just kidding. A lot of deep Vs.
A lot of deep Vs on Prince Philip.
A lot of Shakespearean blouse deep Vs.
Yep.
Which I'm a fan of.
He was serving just enough cleavage to satisfy me. So there was that element that I was drawn to.
His pectoral acting was pretty good.
That's great.
Pretty good. I have to say, this character for me is a miss. Prince Philip already is sort of a non-character for Sleeping Beauty. He is one of the more speaking princes.
I was going to say, he's more interesting in the animated film than he is in the
100%.
live-action films.
And they could have done so much more with him.
Yeah, where are his quirks? Like, he should be quirky or something. There should be something there.
He needed something.
Yeah.
Both Aurora and Prince Philip just needed a little extra oomph to them.
Right.
Especially, like we're going to keep saying over and over, if you're going to go up against Michelle Pfeiffer and Angelina Jolie in a movie, you have to bring it, and it wasn't brought in the character or in the acting for those two characters, for me.
Well, you just mentioned her name, Michelle Pfeiffer, a new character to the story, plays Queen Ingrid, Prince Philip's mother.
It's true. I love Michelle Pfeiffer.
You know, as I was sitting there in the theater watching this, I was like, this was an excellent choice to go up against Angelina Jolie. You need to have someone of that kind of caliber and history behind her in Hollywood to kind of play that character.
She is my one and only Catwoman.
Oh, yeah, she's so good as Catwoman.
She was so good as Catwoman.
So good.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. She sort of has this old Hollywood glam to her of a day gone by.
Yeah.
And it was needed for this movie, and they did a wonderful job casting her in this role.
I was a little concerned walking into this film. I'm like, Michelle Pfeiffer, I don't know, man. And like, I don't often associate her with a strong kind of English accent or any accent at all.
Sure, yeah.
But I think she was having fun in this movie. Like, it seemed like she was having fun, and I was with her on the ride. Like, I was really enjoying watching her in this movie.
She can serve you a sit down and shut up look like nobody else. I am afraid of her sometimes when she gets that just sort of scowl. I'm like, oh, you're gonna punch me right in the nose, aren't you?
And as strong as her performance was, this would be a film where the costumes could wear you.
Oh.
And yet there was Michelle Pfeiffer wearing 12 layers of beading and crowns and she was owning it and wearing it and pulling it off successfully.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I almost felt like they restrained themselves a little bit. I could have seen some more on her.
Oh, just load it up.
Load her up with jewels just dripping everywhere. What did you think about her character in the movie without giving away too much?
The justification for her actions wasn't as strong as I needed it to be.
Fair enough. That's well said. It didn't really make much sense.
And I think we can safely say that early on in the film, it's revealed that her intentions are not as pure as she would want you to believe that they are.
Right, which kind of bothered me that we learned so early on in the movie. I was like, where's the reveal here?
That's a really good point, Patrick. And I feel the exact same way. Like, wouldn't it have been fun if there was that twist kind of in the second or third act of the movie?
Right, where something menacing is happening, but you don't know who's sort of pulling the levers. But we found out everything in the first 13 minutes of the movie.
That's right.
And then we were just watching it all play out.
Yeah.
Sort of going, well, we kind of know where this is going. So,
Not Michelle Pfeiffer's fault, but certainly kind of a failing of the script and story.
That's right, because she played the heck out of that role.
She did.
I was there for it, and I could see her do that role again in another movie, just not in this movie.
Agreed. Also returning to Maleficent 2, Electric Boogaloo, Sam Riley, who plays Diaval, Maleficent's Raven/human assistant.
That's right.
Henchman.
Yeah.
Partner in life.
Oh. Feather friends. They flock together. The two of them.
What did you think of them flocking together?
I didn't really give a flock about their relationship.
Okay.
Again, this is an example of this character could have been so cool.
Yeah.
And just wasn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't have enough to do.
Yeah.
They didn't really do anything with him. I didn't really understand his purpose in the movie.
It's a smart idea to have her Raven take a human form when she needs him to.
Yes.
But there's none of the quirks there that you would associate with a Raven being turned into a human other than a prosthetic nose that's somewhat beak-shaped.
I thought that too. I was like, he could have did a shake the way that birds do when they get wet or something. Just any little thing, because they sort of allude to that he wants to be a bird only and hates being turned into a human.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that from him or the story, or it just didn't make sense to me.
Another new addition to the cast, Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays Connell, a member of the Dark Fae. And we just heard Chiwetel as the voice of Scar in the remake of The Lion King.
That's right.
And we've seen him as Mordo in Doctor Strange. And of course, he played Solomon Northup in 12 Years a Slave, for which he was nominated for an Academy Award and a Golden Globe and won the BAFTA Award for Best Actor.
He is so wonderful to watch. He's another strong presence on film, which made me want to see more of him in this film.
Yeah.
They didn't use him the way I thought they were going to.
And the circumstances surrounding his character are kind of more interesting than the circumstances surrounding Maleficent in this movie.
Yeah, I really wanted them to focus in on that storyline with the Fays, but unfortunately, that whole Fae situation got really muddy.
It did.
And it didn't make sense the way I think they wanted it to. It just sort of went in 12 different directions and never really got resolved.
Wouldn't it have been a more interesting movie if that was the focus of the movie and Maleficent discovering them or uncovering their existence?
Yes.
That should have been the movie, right?
Yeah, sort of a 23andMe situation for Maleficent.
And not the whole kind of weird family dynamic between like Prince Philip's family and Maleficent and Aurora.
Yeah, do we need to focus on this white, rich family, or can we focus on this diverse, rich history of a family?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been the better choice to focus on?
Yeah, very strange.
Very strange.
I don't need, like, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I want more, like, I want more of the fantasy kind of deep dive into the dark history of these fairies.
Right.
Regardless, he's gorgeous to look at. Wasn't given enough to do. That's kind of the through line of this movie.
He had far too many clothes on.
He did. He really did. But who didn't was Ed Skrein. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I think so.
Okay, he played Bora.
That's right.
And he most recently played Zapan, I guess, in Alita Battle Angel. I didn't see it.
Did not see that.
Okay.
Missed it.
He was also Ajax in Deadpool, and he was the original Dario Naharis in 3 episodes of the Game of Thrones.
That's right. He was then replaced by Mikhail Huisman. I don't know how to say his name.
Wow, there's a lot of names here we just botched. But Ed's great to look at.
He sure is.
And he didn't have a shirt on.
He sure didn't.
And he had abs.
He sure did.
And did you notice how they kind of took his leather straps and just put them just below his pecs so that they enhanced his pecs?
I did notice that.
I appreciated that.
I appreciated it.
Who was the costume designer again, Patrick?
Ellen Mirognick.
Okay, well, thanks, Ellen.
Thanks, Ellen.
We appreciate those straps under Ed's boobies.
They were strapping. He was another character that could have been a lot cooler than he was. He had a very interesting storyline.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
It didn't go in that direction, which left me with sort of a character blue ball situation.
Yeah, I think that's the most appropriate way of saying that.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
It almost seemed like with all of these Fae characters, they just abandoned ship halfway through it. And we're just like, we're going to go in a different direction, so your story doesn't matter anymore. Bye.
Renowned English actor Robert Lindsay played King John. He was very kingly. I mean, what can I say?
He's a wonderful actor, and again, very underutilized.
Yeah. Let's keep going down the underutilized list.
Great.
David Gyasi played Percival. And he's currently appearing as Agrias Astraeon in Carnival Row on Amazon.
Okay. Good job, David.
He also appeared as Daniel in Annihilation. I loved Annihilation. And he played Romilly in Interstellar.
That's right. He has a very funny credit on his IMDb page.
Yeah.
He played Skinny Prisoner in The Dark Knight Rises.
I would never even be considered for that role. But David is very attractive.
He very is.
He's probably the one I was most attracted to in the movie.
Yeah, I wanted to get lost in his eyes and his arms.
I would suggest to the creative team behind Maleficent 3, because you know it's coming, Maleficent 3, Percival's Revenge.
Ooh, I like that.
Let's make it all about Percival.
I like it.
Okay, but anyway, he seemed very talented too, but he's very hot.
Yes.
Jen Murray played Gerda. And Patrick, you kept laughing when she was on screen. Do you have a reason for this? Was it just because she was kind of weird looking?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
I was sitting right next to you and you kept on kind of going, huh, every time she appeared on screen. So I thought maybe you'd recognized her from something, but then when I looked at her credits, all I could pull up was that she was Chastity Barebone in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
That's right. The best named character in the whole world. I don't know. There's just something about her that just is striking to me.
Do you know who she reminded me of and who I thought you thought she was?
Oh.
Was the redheaded teacher from Glee.
Oh, I can see that.
She kind of has that same look about her.
Sure. She's just very unique looking, and it was kind of a fun character.
Yes.
But really weird. It kind of went into sort of a farcical
It did.
character choice,
Yeah.
which didn't fit the movie. I think maybe that's why I was just like, what's going on here?
But at least she was interesting.
Absolutely.
And unexpected, right? Like you would
Yes.
not expect the Master of Arms, essentially, at a castle to be a rather diminutive redhead.
Right.
And I appreciated that.
It almost felt like she was like, I'm going to try to save this movie. I'm going to do something interesting and watchworthy.
I wonder if she walked in and the casting director was like, you're going to be a fairy. And she's like,
Think again.
I want to be the kind of secondary heavy in the film.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
I wish that the rest of the creative team followed suit with what she was doing.
Yeah.
It could have been a really interesting, quirky movie.
Absolutely. Returning to the world of Maleficent, we have Juno Temple, Leslie Manville, and Imelda Staunton as Thistlewit, Flittle, and Knotgrass, essentially Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. I'm bothered by them. I don't care for the CGI. And what they were given to do, given the talent of these three actresses, is almost embarrassing, I think. Like
That's exactly what it was. It was embarrassing to watch.
Does not work.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to sound really dramatic, and I'm okay with that. I was almost sort of offended by what they did with these fairies.
Oh, yeah.
From the first movie and this one, where it's just like, these are three incredibly iconic characters in Disney history, and you wrote and directed the fun right out of it. It was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, are they trying to make them more appealing to kids? Is that what they're trying to do? Because it's not working.
Maybe.
I can't imagine a kid would be like, those are the characters I'm behind.
And where was their magic? Why weren't they magical fairies? They were just fairies who flew around.
I wonder why the decision was made to change their names.
That doesn't make any sense either. Same with Diablo, which was the raven in the original Sleeping Beauty. They changed his name just slightly.
Right.
I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And isn't it more interesting, and I know you were alluding to this just like seconds ago, that they are more powerful or almost have the same level of power as Maleficent? Doesn't that make things more interesting rather than kind of stripping them of their power and making them the Three Stooges?
Exactly. Yeah, I can't. I just can't with those characters. I'm so mad at that. It ruined any scene they were in, I thought. I
totally agree.
So distracting.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't care for their portrayal in these movies.
And it almost felt like those three really wonderful actresses were like, can we stop? Are we done now? I just want to get out of this. It just, they didn't seem like they had their heart in it. You can almost tell in the performances that they weren't interested. Yeah. They were contractually obligated to do it, maybe.
I hope they were well paid.
They must have been, but ugh. In case you didn't understand, I hated those characters.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
The fantastic Warwick Davis makes an appearance as Lickspittle, which is the best name in this movie. We both laughed when he was first mentioned.
It's true.
Lickspittle.
Yeah.
And Warwick Davis has appeared as Professor Phileas Flitwick in the Harry Potter series. He was Willow Ufgood in Willow, and he was Wicket in Return of the Jedi, the best Ewok of all time.
Willow. I love that movie.
Warwick Davis is kind of the go-to little person, I feel like, in Hollywood. Like when you need a fantastical character brought to life by a little person, you grab Warwick Davis.
Or Peter Dinklage.
Sure. If you need a more serious character, I'd say go with Peter Dinklage.
Fair enough.
Warwick Davis is so talented because he plays so many characters and oftentimes will play several characters in the same film.
It's true, yeah. He's really fun to watch. He's actually a really great actor.
Yeah, and he's had such a career. And I would say he was one of the more interesting characters in this movie.
I wanted more from his character as well.
Yeah, he doesn't appear that often on screen, but when he does, he's kind of fascinating to watch.
I could have used, and this is not giving away too much, I could have used more inner conflict with him.
There was a turnaround there that didn't pay off the way it should have.
Right. There was no slow burn leading up to his character change, I guess.
That's a good point, Patrick. And last but not least, I would just like to bring up Emma McLennan, who voiced the characters Pinto and Button. And not so much her work with the characters, but I just want to talk about the fact that the characters existed at all in this movie.
Yeah.
They're both CGI characters.
They are.
Pinto kind of looks like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, you're right.
Button kind of looks like a toadstool from Super Mario Brothers.
That's exactly right. Good point.
Why did these characters exist in this movie?
Disney or any movie production company, we don't need these, I can't even call them sidekicks.
Right.
But we don't need these little Jar Jar Binks funny characters that nobody cares about. I mean, these are not going to be toys that you're going to sell. No one's going to care about these characters. They're not cute enough. Just stop it. Stop it with these dumb characters. Or if you're going to do it, knock it out of the park.
My question goes back to, like with the Three Fairies, was this for the kids? Was this something for the kids to grasp onto? Because this is a very dark movie. There's very dark sequences in this movie, literally and figuratively. Like, for instance, when she's with the Dark Fae,
right,
there are points on the screen when it's very, very dark. But there's also dark story elements to this movie.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to bring levity to the film, I think they can find a better way to do it.
Case in point, the Porgs in Star Wars.
Right.
They are super cute, unnecessary, but they worked.
Yeah.
And they are a huge moneymaker for them now as well.
Yeah.
It seems like they tried to do that with these two characters. They tried to create another Porg moment. Did not pay off whatsoever.
From the moment Pinto appeared on screen, I wanted Pinto to not be on screen.
Yeah, we sort of already knew what we were in for. It was like, don't do it. Put it away.
It's one of these gibberish talking characters trying to be cute, but ultimately annoying. And that's just my opinion. I know, but I'm sorry if that offends you, but I struggle with these characters whenever I see them in films, and it frequently happens in films.
It does. There's a moment, I can't remember the character's name, in Fantastic Beasts. There's a character like this, but again, it works really well, and they tried to do that, and it doesn't work, so just stop it. Unless you have a really wonderful idea, don't do it. Okay, so we've talked a lot about things that didn't work for us in the cast and in sort of the character developments. Was there anything that stood out that you were a big fan of or a medium fan of?
Well, we've already talked about the art direction and kind of overall look of the film, which is gorgeous. And I think a lot of times when you're kind of creating a medieval fantasy environment, there's a danger there that it can come off too kind of brightly colored and too cartoony or too dark, right?
Sure.
And I thought this film kind of walked a really fine, great line of finding that balance of bringing some color to a quote-unquote dark period in history, although I know this isn't like a historically accurate film.
It's not?
And also finding the dark moments within that world.
Yeah, it was a good balance, that's for sure.
As little as Angelina Jolie was given to say, I thought she was really successful in the more humorous moments of her character.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I need to separate myself from her as Maleficent from the animated film altogether. This is not Maleficent, right? This is a different take on Maleficent. I get that's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like Maleficent's sister, not Maleficent. This movie and 2014's Maleficent kind of strips her of any mystery. And what we're left with is a less interesting character, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Disney itself would say that the animated Maleficent is a very treasured villain in Disney canon. And only a villain. Like, there's no other side to her.
Yes.
And I think she's a fan favorite. She's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
She's an amazing villain that they use sort of as the leader of all of their villains when they do, like, parades and stage shows. And they don't hide from that. And so this movie is weird for me because you have to separate it from the animated movie. You have to think of it as just a different version altogether. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is, it's weird to me. It feels unnecessary then. It's like, if you're going to go away from what you showed us in the animated movie and have us revere that as Disney canon, then you can't do what you did with this movie and have us believe a whole different story. There can't be two at the same time. Does that make sense? It's almost like this is a whole different universe.
I was going to say an alternate timeline Maleficent.
It's Bizarro Maleficent.
What's interesting, though, is that I can watch the Broadway musical Wicked and then still watch The Wizard of Oz and be like, oh, I get that.
But that's a successful way of saying, you know what, you're seeing all this stuff, but behind the scenes, this is what's actually happening.
That's what I'm saying is like I need that level of success brought to Maleficent where you're like, I can see her intentions in being the way she is. And perhaps it's because, Patrick, Wicked is a prequel and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, is a sequel.
Sure, but we did get, well, yeah, for this movie, but the original Maleficent did get into prequel territory.
It did.
And the whole thing about the wings didn't happen in the animated version. So they fully retold that character.
Right.
So that's what I think the difference is. In Wicked, they stayed true to The Wizard of Oz and what was happening. With this one, they just sort of went in a whole different direction and were like, what you thought was true is not true anymore. All that being said, I feel like they got closer to a better movie with this one.
And is that because it's more removed from the story of Sleeping Beauty as we know it?
I absolutely think that. I wish that the first one just hadn't happened. And then I also, beyond that, wish that they just kept cooking this one a little longer.
Yeah.
It's so close to it being a really fun story, but it's just not quite seasoned properly.
The really troubling elements for me are the use of CGI, the overuse of CGI, maybe, or maybe not even the overuse. Like CGI can be done really successfully.
Yeah.
But it's just dumb CGI, in my opinion, in this movie. And I'm not talking about the landscapes. I'm talking about the characters who are CGI.
Yeah, it wasn't thoughtful enough.
The three fairies, Pinto, I don't want to see it. And whenever they were on screen, quite frankly, I was annoyed with the experience.
Sure.
The other big kind of problematic element for me is that Maleficent, who is the title character, was not the most interesting character in this movie, and she should have been. As I said earlier, the Dark Fae were really interesting to me. Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Queen Ingrid, was really interesting to me. And to have a movie called Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, you better deliver after that title, and it just didn't deliver what that title kind of projects the movie's going to be about.
Sure, this almost could have been two separate movies.
Yeah, it could have been, you're right.
Where they told the Fae story first, and then they led up to what happens at the end of the movie as a whole separate movie itself.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So let's go back in time.
Okay.
Make that happen.
Yep.
And then maybe we would have had a better experience.
And that's what it's all about, our experience.
It's only about what you and I perceive to be good or bad.
Do you think they'll make another movie?
I don't think this is going to be successful enough for them to want to do another movie.
Yeah, we should say we were there on a Thursday night.
Opening night.
A 7:00 show. And there were maybe 20 people in our theater?
Maybe if you counted some people twice.
Okay.
You could have gotten to 20.
Not very well attended, at least in our showing.
Yeah, historically, October is kind of a tough movie month anyways, unless you're serving up a horror flick, which I guess this is a dark movie for Disney. But yeah, not successful. I'm interested to see what those opening weekend numbers are going to look like.
Yeah, me too. And having asked the question, I struggle to see where a Maleficent 3 could even go at this point.
That's true. I don't think there's much more story to tell unless they do a way prequel before Maleficent was even born and tell the Fae story.
Oh, interesting. Or what if she got a job? Like, what if she became like a working gal?
I like it.
And she was like part of a secretarial pool? Do you think HR would have a conversation with her about her outfits?
They could get Melanie Griffith involved.
I would love to see Melanie Griffith involved.
She's already got those shoulder pads, Maleficent. She's got some pointy shoulders. She'd fit right in.
Working girl, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in general, for us, didn't love the movie.
No.
I did not hate the movie.
No, in fact, my expectations were so low walking in that I felt relieved walking out, but that I wasn't as frustrated as I was after the first movie.
Right, which you don't really get from this conversation. We feel very frustrated.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't tell people not to see it. I think it's worth a look, for sure.
For anyone who's a fan of that kind of level of fantasy, medieval fantasy, I'm sure they'll be on board. We know we have so many listeners who are so excited for this movie, and several of them who have already reached out to us and told us how much they actually really loved Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, Angelina Jolie is a perfect choice for Maleficent. She is serving you full-on Maleficent realness. It's just the storyline around her, I think, is what you and I can't get on board with as much.
So should we talk about some of those listener comments we received?
Let's please do that.
Our friend Calvin, who you can find on Instagram at Calvin in Wonderland, said, quote, pretty good.
All right, fair.
He felt it was pretty good.
I like it. Mario, again, writes into us from Diamond in the Rough Clothing Co. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil was proof that a movie can be better than the previews it came out with. That's a fair point.
Yeah, I think so.
While many people were quick to point out that the movie was unnecessary or even said, who asked for this, like many of your listeners first said when the trailers were released, it was a good standalone film, not bogged down with the original film's live-action necessities, nor forced to adhere to any original source material. That's a really good point. That's kind of what we were saying before, that you have to separate this from the original animated film altogether.
Right.
He goes on to say, this live action had the freedom to tell any story it wanted to. They chose to tell a love story wrapped in an allegory of being unified. Not to spoil the movie to any listeners, but the film showcases how power can be alluring but dangerous if given to the wrong people. Powerhouse performances from Michelle Pfeiffer and Angelina Jolie took what could have been static dialogue and propelled it into new iconic roles. That is really well said. I fully agree with you, Mario.
And last but not least, Queer Disney Blog on Instagram said, absolutely amazing. Angelina Jolie is definitely the best person for this role. Absolutely, we agree with that. Me, along with everyone else in the theater, was jumping out of our seats with anger and joy throughout the movie.
Okay. That would have been weird with 15 people in our theater doing that.
It would have been strange. It would have been strange.
Okay. I also talked to Ben and Mikey, who are at Once Upon a Scream podcast, and they actually really loved the movie, and they said it felt like an All-Stars finale. Which makes me laugh.
Accurate. Is that what they were going for with this film?
Yeah, it was very drag camp heavy, I guess, in the makeup and costuming.
Yeah.
And some all-star actors were involved. So
it's
there
going
you
to be
go.
So exciting to see all of the Maleficent drag costumes.
Oh my gosh, you are right. Speaking of, Nina West has been going around dressed as Maleficent for a lot of the premieres.
Yeah.
She is really amazing with that costume.
Well, it's not a slam dunk in our books. Probably far from it.
Look at you with the sports reference.
I'm so hetero.
You're serving heteronormative realness today. Good for you.
But we would love to hear your thoughts on the movie. We know many more of you will be seeing it this coming week. And so we'd love to hear your thoughts on Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Yes, upwards of 13 people per theater will be there.
I'm sure it'll make plenty of money for Disney.
Yeah.
You can reach out to us with your thoughts on the film and, quite frankly, with your thoughts on our thoughts on the film.
That's right.
By heading to any one of our social media accounts at GDTD Podcast.
Or you can critique our critique at info@gaysdothed.com. Shoot us an email there, or you can always send us a voice memo as well. What would have been a better title for this movie?
Just off the top of my head?
Yeah.
Maleficent, drama from your mama.
Listen, For my two Maleficents, that's a really good title. Oh, Adam.
Oh, Patrick.
Oh, what time is it?
Oh, it's time for some Quick D.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Let's stop doing O's. That's a loaded statement there.
Also, us Midwesterners doing O's should never be allowed.
Oh my.
Oh.
This is riveting podcasting here.
Sure is.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It is Quick D time. For those who don't know, why are you listening to the show? I don't understand why you don't understand what Quick D is. Get out of here. Get out of here, listeners.
We welcome all to this podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Quick D is where Adam and I ask each other a question that we've not been privy to prior to recording, and we answer off the cuff, all willy-nilly like.
Mm-hmm.
So, Adam, do you have a big Quick D for me?
I've got an appropriately sized Quick D for you.
A sensible D.
It's not huge.
Oh, great.
It's just big enough.
Okay.
But it's more about what you do with this D rather than its size.
So I have to do all the work.
Well,
okay.
I'm tired.
All right.
Here's my D for you. Patrick, we just spent an excruciating amount of time talking about Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
We did. We really did.
Or maybe it was just excruciating to listen to us talk about Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
That's true for any topic.
That's probably, true for any topic. So my question for you is, what villain's story do you feel needs to be continued in a live-action movie?
Ooh.
So in other words, what villain do you want to see Angelina Jolie play next in a live-action Disney film, and what would you like the story to be about?
Do you know who needs a movie?
Who?
Mad Madam Mim.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just haven't seen that movie in so long. I don't really know enough about her. Does she survive The Sword and the Stone? She does, right?
She does.
Okay.
I like how you took my preference and said no to it, as though...
That's so true.
As though you're like...
That's so true.
That's cute, but that's not the correct answer.
That was the absolute opposite you should do in an improv situation. No. No.
Moving on to your question, I guess.
All right, so Mad Madam Mim. Okay.
She is a really funny character.
Yeah.
And you don't have much backstory in The Sword and the Stone with her and like where she came from. Why did she have this ongoing battle with Merlin?
Sure.
Which could be the entire movie about a battle between the two of them would be the entire movie.
So it could be a prequel or a sequel.
Absolutely. Played by Angelina Jolie's cheekbones.
I'm excited to see her really break out of her shell and explore this character. It seems against type for her.
Angelina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she can do anything.
Can she?
She can't make Maleficent a good movie, but she can play anyone she wants to.
That's true. That's very, very true.
There's not enough magic in the world.
Well, I think this is a great choice. I'm excited to see it. I'll need to go back and watch The Sword and the Stone again to kind of get the whole...
Yeah, you should really partake in Disney history at some point of this podcast.
I plan to. It's called Disney Plus, and it's launching on November 12th.
What's that? Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, look out for Mad Madam Mim, colon, and here's the thing. It's going to be sort of a gender-bent movie, so it'll be Mad Madam Him.
Oh, I like that.
Instead.
I don't know if that would pass Gina Davis's test.
We're removing roles for women and changing them into men.
Yeah.
Well, but then Merlin could be a woman. Marilyn is her name.
Oh, the way you just said that. And the physicality you embodied.
A little shoulder.
You needed to do that in order to get that out of your mouth.
You have no idea how many times I've heard that today.
All right, I can get on board with this movie.
Thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate it.
I do. I will produce it for you.
You were not on board at first, and now you are heavily on board.
That's all I can think about.
Mad Madam Him, colon, Marilyn.
Mad Madam Him versus Marilyn.
Yep. Mad Madam Him v. Marilyn.
It's kind of like an Alien versus Predator situation.
That's exactly what it is.
But made by Disney.
Maybe they can bring back the Alien ride.
Oh, great. Synergy.
Mm-hmm. I'm so thoughtful. All right, should we move on to your D?
Your D for me? Or is it my D for you? No, my D for you was my question.
Right.
Give me your D
for you.
You've got a D for me.
All right, take this D.
I never want to hear you say that ever again, Patrick.
And call me in the morning. Adam, you've
Yes.
just returned from Halloween Horror Nights.
I sure have.
Talk to me about Gaze Do the D's new haunted house coming to a theme park near you.
I would love to do this. In fact, side note.
Okay.
After our trip, we were at the airport, and I actually DM'd Universal, and I said, have you ever thought about hosting a contest where one fan gets to design a original haunted house? And then the winner would get an all-expenses-paid trip to Universal for a weekend to experience their own creation.
Did they then DM you back saying, Adam, would you please stop sending us messages? It's never going to happen. We're just not that into you.
I'll tell you exactly what they said back to me. It wasn't far from that, Patrick.
Oh, no.
They responded, we have not, but I appreciate your suggestion, smiley face.
Oh, that was really thoughtful of them to respond that way to you.
Yeah. They were like, who is this Yahoo? And
But secretly they're going to do it now, though, and delete your account.
I know.
And you altogether. But before they delete you, Adam,
Yes.
talk to me about the Gaze Do the D haunted house.
I will do that.
Okay.
The GDTD house at Halloween Horror Nights is going to be inappropriate gay costumes throughout Halloween history, and it's going to be us wearing them.
Oh, no.
So it's just going to be room after room after room of us
This is frightening.
sporting stereotypical gay costumes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm thinking like slutty policeman, slutty fireman,
Wearing like a Boy Scout outfit.
wearing a Boy Scout outfit.
Okay, okay.
And by outfit, I mean a thong
An unfit.
and a kerchief
Well, that's kind of what I'm wearing right
and a
now.
hat. Yeah. So maybe you'll fit right into this house.
It's true.
One of us will be an angel, slutty angel. One of us will be a slutty devil.
I like it.
There's a lot of slutty costumes in this house.
Are there any jump scares? Is something or someone or something going to scare us from around the corner?
I think there's going to be a lot of scary moments in this house. I think there'll be a lot of jump scares, particularly when anyone enters any single room. It's not going to be so much us jumping out at them as just them seeing us and instantly being terrified by what they're witnessing.
Parts of us jumping out of our own costumes.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Gross. This is emotionally terrifying for me.
I say embrace it. I say go with it. This is our chance to experience all of those wonderfully uncomfortable outfits that gay men enjoy wearing on Halloween.
You're right. Let's do it. I'm sold.
I'm thinking the music as you walk through the house could be disco, but just slowed down enough that it's kind of warped sounding.
Ooh.
So like, last dance, last chance for love.
That is terrifying.
Have you ever seen the opening credit sequence to Nocturnal Animals? The Tom Ford movie?
I strangely have not. No.
Okay. All right. That's for anyone who has seen that movie. It's just imagine me and Patrick in slow motion.
I will survive.
And ironically, most people won't survive when they're going through this house.
Nope.
I would imagine most will either pass out from fear
Yeah.
or run into something as they close their eyes and run as quickly as they can from room to room.
Run into something.
Yeah. Like a wall or a post.
Oh, okay. I was like, that sounds, again, like
No.
an escapade of mine.
Who would want? Who would
blindly run
want
into
to
something.
Run into something. Is that your excuse? You're like, I just ran into it.
I couldn't, I fell. I fell. It's fine. Is there a title to our house?
You know there's a title to our house.
Oh, good.
The title is GDTD, You Don't Want to See Me.
It's sort of like a nursery rhyme. GDTD, you don't want to see me. I like that.
I don't. And now that's all I will think about whenever I hear any kind of child song.
So people can come to GDTD, you don't want to see me, to see us Halloqueens
Halloqueens.
in a haunted house, honey.
Yes, honey.
I like this. This is terrifying. People will lose all kinds of fluids in this haunted house. Tears.
Yuck. Okay.
Pee.
Yeah. And that's just us. That will do it for this episode of Gaze Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gazedothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gaze Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast, and submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See you real soon.